Here's a historical monument in Nelson, Ohio. Flip this around and give you guys a look in a second. But basically what we have here, I was just driving through, it's a big roundabout with, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's this monument, and then there's a school behind the tree there too. So, give you a look. Welcome zombies. Today we're looking at Nelson, Ohio, some various buildings around Nelson, Ohio. Please like and subscribe to this WeZombie channel and share these videos so as many people as possible can see these sites and whatever mysteries they might hold or not hold. The hypothesis is that there was an advanced civilization previously in the United States of America, perhaps not too long ago, and plenty of their buildings actually still remain, but we just haven't really been told about it. So let's take a look at Nelson, Ohio. Let's take a look at some of its history. So Nelson Township, Portage County, Ohio. My last video was about a high school and elementary school in Southington Township, Ohio. Highly recommend you check out that video. Nelson Township is one of the 18 townships of Portage County, Ohio, United States. The 2000 census found 2,900 people in the township. Nelson Township was organized in 1817. Nelson Township is also the site of Nelson Kennedy Ledges State Park, which I'll show you this, and I'm gonna make a video. I drove by there today, but I'll get back there and actually do some filming and editing and just explore it a little bit more. I'll get into this more in the video that I make about this place, but these are likely just the ruins of even older, much bigger buildings than the ones we're actually talking about today. You know, textbooks and all that, and Bill Nye will try and tell you that, you know, some natural process or whatever of Mother Nature threw these into existence, but these are just, you know, bigger, you know, like the types of blocks and bricks that we're looking at that construct these buildings and the ones I showed in my previous video about Southington and the ones I'll be showing today. This is just a bigger version. So we'll leave that at that for now. And that's really all the information we get here on the Nelson Township. To be honest, in these little townships here around this area that I'm at in Ohio, it's hard to find a lot of information. It seems like there just haven't been many people out here. It's just very rural country and there's just not much information to really gather on the place, except that there's some pretty impressive buildings chilling around here. And check out this story I just posted on my Instagram. I posted this on my personal, but now's a good time to have you follow, hopefully, what is the WeZombie Instagram account. I don't even know if I've made one yet, so we'll see what handle's available, but this is right in this area as well, and it says developers secure first funding source for Old Lehman High School. And we can see here again just a much older building with everything stripped and torn off of it, all the decoration, ornamentation, statues. All right, here up top, I imagine there was something else that shot up, maybe another tower right on top of here, maybe a bunch of towers on top of here. I don't know. And like when I read through this article, I mean, they're just talking about first step of funding needed to develop the Lehman School Center into senior housing. Yeah, see, like, right, first of all, this is an old school, okay, and they're turning it into senior housing, okay. That's kind of like the mental hospital that they put up in Utah for mental people, which when you read it, it says they didn't know anything about mental illness. Here's a look at the top of it. See, like these, I don't know, this is just clearly not from the time period we're told. I mean, these buildings can last hundreds and hundreds of years, if not 1,000 plus. And have. I mean, look at this. Yeah. Yeah. And that just needs to be turned into a senior living center. This picture is really interesting. I mean, there's a goalpost here, but this is obviously just newer and simpler metal to just throw up. Like, if these guys that built this wanted a goalpost right here, I imagine they probably would have done it out of cement towers that are prettier than this. Touchdown! Lehman was built on the site of the original North High School in 1920. Okay, so that building we were just looking at, They built that in 1920. That building looks like it was built in 920. Due to projections for declining enrollment in Canton City schools, Lehman and Lincoln High School were closed as traditional schools at the end of 75, 76. So the 1920s, they projected it was very worth building these insanely big buildings with very expensive and difficult to move materials during a time when they had limited resources to actually do that sort of thing, if they had the resources to do that sort of thing. And this is where it got really interesting. So the house that right here where I'm at, where I just showed you this area, is called Manaway. It's pronounced a little bit differently than how it's spelled. This is how it's spelled right here. Village School number 1 here, looking like that. And like I say, this is maybe closer to something we were able to build back then. But these and their buildings, I mean, I don't know how much of them are buried, but at least double the height, maybe quite a bit more. And it doesn't give a date for when it was built, but it says it's demolished, gone. Cool. Here's another one, school number 2. They needed a lot of schools back then in this time period. A lot of really big schools. Here's a look at it. Again, just it just completely stripped of whatever was originally there on it. Probably had towers booming off the top of it. Built 1929. It's closed now. I guess it was turned into a university hospital and then closed. Here's the township school. And this one's closed. But obviously back then they needed just another insanely big, durable building. Decided it wasn't worth it to give it some stairs and railing that matched. Let's just really save some money on the stairs and the railing. Oh yeah, this was the most impressive one right here. Union School, Central School, number 1. Built 1869, demolished not even 100 years later. Why? Because this bad boy was just too beautiful and too much of a giveaway. Here's a look at one in Nelson, and I couldn't quite figure out, oh yeah, they demolished it right here. That's why I couldn't, I should have looked at that sooner. But yeah, okay, so built 1914, 1991, built it in 14, gone in 91. This, cause why? Cause why? That was a fun look at many very impressive schools that they really needed to be taken down. Like we had to get those out of here because kids weren't able to learn very well in those schools. We needed one more like these, the portables that I attended when I went to public elementary school. Much more comfortable. And then this isn't from this exact area, but when I was browsing, this is just another picture that I saw, and I just wanted to point this out. I mean, same thing. If back then, in the time period where supposedly they were building everything with wood wheels and axes and shovels, they didn't do these buildings we're exploring. And when you actually start, and I'll do some more videos on this in the future, but when you start exploring like the waterways, canal systems, and dams that were supposedly built in these exact same time periods in this type of a way, I mean, this is, again, the same type of rock architecture and building expertise that we see in the ancient buildings. And then also while I was searching for Nelson, Ohio, there's a place called Nelsonville, Ohio, and I ran across this brick kilns place. And I mean, going back to domes and towers, I found one here, found multiple of them right here. And then this Nelsonville city, we're just seeing pretty much the same stuff again, right? Just buried towers and domes from clearly much older time periods. This would be a really cool place to visit. It's a bit away from where I'm at right now, but like, look at this. That's so cool. This is the monument right in the center of the circle, and I'll jump in my blimp in a second and show you the aerial view from up above looking down at it all. And I think there's been, again, like this whole area just white paint thrown on top of stuff. Here's a kind of backed out shot. They've got the flagpole right here, and then over here's this building. We'll explore these buildings again in a second, but same thing here. These are just big old buildings, brick and cement that they just threw white paneling over. And they're buried. They go down into the earth quite a bit, several stories. So here's a 360 view. There's that building over there, that one. Kind of like in all four corners of the circle. There's the other one, and then here's the fourth one. There's big buildings that have been covered up in white paneling. And then right here, this, when I zoomed in on this, I kind of got tripped out for a second. I'll show you why. And then there's this very peculiar rock formation that sits in front of the monument and is lined up, angling like right to the monument. And to me, it looks like it has purpose, not just, and I don't think someone necessarily built it that way to plant a pretty plant on top of it. I think there's something else sitting there, or was something sitting there that clearly had something to do with the design of the entire circle, the buildings, the pillar in the middle. And then there were a couple buildings there that what I believe are leftover stained glass from the original buildings, potentially. But there were only like a couple windows out of all the buildings that had it, but I did get a couple shots of it. I thought it was pretty cool. You can see that one right there. Here's a shot of this building over here. You can see the stained glass up top. And this is a really cool building. It like went back quite a ways, had a lot buried underneath it. All right, so like I said, I was gonna come back to this sign. So let's just look at it right here for a second. So there's the bottom right rectangle and top rectangle that are the same color, same font. It looks like they were from the same time. And then you've got this middle one, which is split right in the middle, but it's tan coloring right there. And then you've got this bottom left one, which is the same color as the high school one. And I believe the same font. This, I think they're saying that's a 9. Again, maybe this is a huge stretch. I might call that a 0 in it, because this, I don't know, maybe this is just an older font. Maybe this was a high school from an older time. I mean, I don't know. Hard to tell, but it's suspicious overall, I think. So here's a look at another one of the buildings on the circle, the community house. Again, I wish I could have found more information on everything, but couldn't. But again, just appears to me like white paneling through on top. We've got the, properly angled pyramid triangle sitting on top. Looks like we've thrown up some rinky-dink steps to a new entrance. All right, let's cruise on up in my blimp and take a look from above. Here we go. So zooming in here on the circle, you can see right there in the middle. I'll put the monument right there, smack dab in the middle, and zoom out. And you'll see that it forms that roundabout right there. And this is that whole area. And I thought I'd share real fast this quick little bonus, because I did mention earlier in the video about waterway systems, and that it's not just the buildings, but there's a lot of other architecture, bridges as well as another one, that just that type of insanity doesn't make sense for wood wheel buggies, and that just, it doesn't. Look at this. Like this is Hoover Dam during construction, they say. I'm gonna say this is Hoover Dam during excavation / repair, during discovery. I would even say that this type of height is what we see on some of these buildings buried underneath the earth. And I had to see if I could back myself up on that, so I checked out the height of some of the biggest buildings, well over 1,000 feet, and this one looked like, to me, like an old world building, something that's been here for a long time, not something that anybody's really built recently. And I mean, just look at it, and look at the buildings around it, and let's check out the dates on it. Started in 04, finished in 12. And then look down here. I always like to point this out. Like that, it's kind of hard to see exactly what that is, but that looks like a little bit of a wood shack. Same with down here. See like a little bit of a wood shack. And I'd say that's like kind of what we built. And we, that time period, and we showed up with that type of understanding in technology and started to figure out and reverse engineer the stuff that's been here. And then, like I said, I think people, at some point, someone, a conqueror, laid claim on all of it, destroying a lot of it, hiding a lot of it, tricking us into not knowing what we're seeing when it's actually staring us right in the face.